guys, Greg DiPalma here. Just wrapped up Pickwick Lake. It was a great event, so close to making the top 12 on this one, or top 10 on this one. Finished 12th place overall. It was a really fun event. It's kind of crazy. I was telling Nick about this one. I put the boat in the water, and I kind of went to Pickwick with, no pre-notion about what I think, I did in the past. I pretty much took all the waypoints out that I had from before, and I didn't put none of them in. I put the boat in the water, and I just fished this tournament as free as I possibly could. I went to my very first spot that I, saw on the map, and I was like, well, this should be a good transition. The fish should be coming out off the bank. The spawn just was done. It's post-spawn. I knew the fish were moving out. I did know that at that time of the year on Pickwick. I put the trolling motor down in the water, and I turned my Mega live, and there was literally just a stump on the contour. And I threw my very first cast to it with a drop shot, and I caught a 3.5 pounder on my first cast in practice, and I was like, huh. So as I continued to go down the river channel, the contour, I saw, just a whole bunch more stumps down the edge, just the tree line. And I shook off 8 or 9 more fish after that first bite, the first 10, 15 minutes of practice, and I was like, I might just figure something out on this one. So I ended up finding a good, also brim bed bite that was happening too on the lake, but I really tried to duplicate that bite in a lot of different areas, and I just really couldn't do it. So I think there was something going on in the area that I was fishing at the lake too. But that area where I pulled up to in practice the first 5 minutes is pretty much where I spent my entire tournament, which never happens that way. It was a luck thing, yeah, a lot of it, but maybe a little bit of skill involved. So what happened was I started to figure out there was a good front contour there. So if you guys are new to graphing or new to fishing offshore, a little bit ledge fishing, if you have any kind of current conditions where the place pumps current down, the TVA pumps a lot of current. Some days they don't generate at all, but a lot of them fish will set up on the front sides of the contours. That being said, where then 4 or 5 good hardcore stumps were, it was actually on the front side of a contour, which made it even better. So as the tournament progressed, day 1 I fished solely the stumps in the morning. I caught 16, 14 off of them, had a good bag. Day two got a little bit tougher. I only had three fish, I think, by noon. They started to generate a little bit of current, but day 2 in the morning, I did get a few bites on the very shallowest part of that contour, up in 6-7 feet of water where it first dips off and heads up to the current. So what I did was, going back to day 2, as it progressed, they did pump a little bit of water later on in the day. I ended up catching a 6.2. I ended up catching 2 or 3 other good ones after that fish. I had 18.2 day 2. Day 3, I decided to change the way that I was starting. Day 3, I got myself on top of the contour, on the shallowest part that I could, and I used my 360. And I actually could see, in the morning, while it was still early, I would see a few of the fish that were grouped up a little bit, and they'd be just roaming around on the front side of this contour. And as it would refresh, I'd bomb a cast in there as fast as I could, and I had to limit day 3 really fast because I really started to figure out how to catch the fish. The stumps that were off the drop still played a big role on day 3. I still caught some really quality fish that stayed in the bag. I weighed 16 and change day 3 of the event. Like I said, finished in 12th place. For me, there it is, man. Robo worm, 7-inch, the big one. Aaron's Morning Dawn was definitely by far. I caught all the fish except for, I think, 2 that I ended up catching off of brim beds in the tournament on this worm right here on this exact setup. This setup right here is the one that I tell everybody all the time. If you're going to buy a spinning rod setup, this is the one you want to buy because you can do so much stuff with it. It's a 7-foot medium heavy Shimano Zodius, my favorite in the lineup by far. I've cashed more checks, I've caught more bass on this rod. Reel wise, I went for the Vanford 2500. Great reel for this, super light, love it. Line wise, I went for a 20-pound high seas braid down to a 12-pound 100% fluorocarbon line. Weight wise, I threw a Voss 5/16 seems to be the one I always reach for. Hook wise, super important too. I threw a big old 4/0 HD Hayabusa 114 on there. Great hook, hooking them fish. A lot of the fish I had trouble getting hook out of the face. The Tennessee Rivers gets a lot of pressure, so I think the drop shot played a big role for me because of the pressure that the place gets 24/7 to fish. A lot of the fish that were down on them stumps, sometimes I'd cast 30 times at the same stump because I could see them on Mega Live sitting down there, and then I'd finally get them to go on drop shot. So high pressure itself in general, but just a lot of repetitive casts seemed to be key to a lot of that stumps once the day got forward. They weren't pulling a lot of water, only 18,000, so that made it really tough, I think, too. Brandon Lester caught 20 pounds a day, which was incredibly good in that tournament, as you guys saw. But Tennessee River, can't go wrong with this setup right here. Aaron's Morning Dawn across the country for me just seems to flat out catch them. So if you guys are going to Pickwick, Tennessee River, maybe apply some of this stuff, maybe some of that River Channel stuff. Make sure you guys get on the front sides and you find some stumps in the contour, you're probably going to catch them. So a couple little tips for you guys. Hope helps you guys out. We'll talk to you guys in the next one.